Episode 1. We walk through Query and the 6 things you plug into it. Tools, the built-in toolkit plus anything you bring through MCP. Permissions, controlling what the agent is allowed to call. Hooks, callbacks at lifecycle events for auditing or blocking. Subagents, focus delegates with their own context window. MCP servers, the standard way to expose external tools. And sessions, so you can resume or fork a prior run. Each gets its own episode after this one. Query takes a prompt and options and returns an async iterable of SDKMessage. The union has 4 variants. System arrives first and carries the session ID. Assistant is Claude's output, including tool calls. User is the tool result the SDK pushes back into the loop. And result is terminal. Iteration ends after that. Here's the message flow for a single tool call. Your code starts iterating. The SDK yields system first. The model returns a tool use. You see an assistant message. The SDK runs the tool, yields the user message with the result, sends it back to the model, and the model returns final text. Then, result ends the stream. Call query with a prompt and the tools it may use. 4 await over the messages. Claude picks the tool, the library runs it, the result loops back into the model, and you iterate until result. If you've used the Anthropic SDK directly, you've written the top half. Read the response, check stop reason, run the tool, send the result back. The Agent SDK runs that loop inside the library. You still see the same messages, but you don't drive the cycle and you don't manage the context window. 1 NPM package and the API key. The Claude Code binary ships as an optional dependency. Bedrock, Vertex, Azure Foundry, and Claude Platform on AWS each have their own Use This Provider env var. Your code stays identical. 10 tools ship with the SDK. File I/O, shell, find and search, web access, plus monitor for background process streams and ask user question to surface a prompt back to whoever's running the agent. You reference these by name in allowed tools. Allowed tools is the allow list. Disallowed tools block specific tools. Permission mode controls the default for anything unlisted. There's also a can use tool callback for per call gating, which we'll cover in the permissions episode. Hooks are callbacks scoped to lifecycle events. Bind a function under the matching event with an optional tool name regex. Return an empty object to allow or a decision payload to block or transform. Full implementations in the hooks episode. Session start fires once. User prompt submit fires when you submit the prompt. Pre-tool use fires before every tool call and can block. Post-tool use is your audit point. Stop fires when the loop ends. Session end when query returns. Subagents run in their own context with their own prompt and tool list. Define one under agents and add the agent tool to allowed tools so the main agent can invoke it. Subagent messages flow into the same stream, tagged with parent tool use ID so you can group them. MCP is the open protocol for tool servers. The simplest config is stdio with a command and args. The SDK also accepts HTTP and SSE for remote servers. To the model, MCP tools look like built-in ones. Sessions persist across query calls. Capture the session ID from the first init message, then pass it back as resume to continue. Fork session true branches without mutating the original. State lives as JSONL on disk. That's the surface. Prompt, tool gates, approval knobs, hooks, agents, MCP servers, the session controls, and setting sources for where to load the .claude folder from. Next episodes go deep on hooks, building your own MCP server in TypeScript, Subagent orchestration, and production patterns.